Hello everyone, and welcome to our new episode of PharmaTalks, the podcast where we speak with leaders, innovators of the industry, and sometimes even rebels. And this episode is very timely. There is a perfect timing because we are going to question the status quo about omnichannel. Is it really working? Is it segmentation? Or what are the other secrets we are going to uncover? And today we have a fascinating guest of our studio, Nico Renner. So Nico has a great background, blending science, business, a real world brand experience. And there are so many things we can discuss regarding marketing and omnichannel together. And today I'm asking Nico to share a personal experience and which is gained across the career and be very honest and transparent with the studio. Welcome, Nico. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Nataliya, thanks for having me in the first place. And as you just pointed out, I'm sharing my own view today, my personal opinion, not necessarily my company's perspective. But yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I do consider my opinions on a bunch of pharma buzzwords maybe a little like not the mainstream opinion, but that's what we're here for to discuss. And I'm curious on whether you have different opinions on certain aspects. Looking forward to the discussion today.
Yeah, and this is why we are here because, if we have what to say, so we need to be heard. So let us kick off the topic actually. And the first question and the first block where we will be talking about what exactly changed in the recent years for pharma marketeers. So what is different today for the marketeer in pharma comparing to the last couple of years? Nico,
I
your
mean,
opinion on that?
that's a tricky question for me because I've not been around for so long. So I'm always joking that I don't know the last 30 years of pharma marketing. I've not seen the glorious days where digital didn't play a role at all. So I can only speak from COVID and onwards, so to say. But here I believe that the industry in some regard changed a lot, and others still circles around the same problems. So if we take, for example, omnichannel marketing, and I personally don't like the term anymore because it's so overused and to a certain extent also misinterpreted in the industry. But there are tremendous changes when COVID forced us all to go back to home office and avoid conferences. The central belief was, well, okay, now we can do everything digital, and do we actually need to see ourselves face to face anymore? Which then the pendulum swung back a little, and we realized, well, human interaction is a very important part in the interactions we have. So then we integrated this hybrid concept and still discovered how digital could still fit into the overall engagement strategies. And I think now the trend is more towards, hey, we promised ourselves so many things in omnichannel marketing, and it was supposed to solve so many problems, but did it actually? I think here we also recalibrated over the last 1-2 years, and there I see a clear change. Also probably given to the experiences that all marketers in the industry made with this ambition to become the next Netflix or Spotify.
Oh, Nico, you are definitely triggering a lot of interesting questions here. So stating that omnichannel is overrated, that you don't like the term anymore. And, I think you are sounding as really this voice of marketing today, because marketeers today, as I'm feeling very much, they are under the pressure. They need to be the data experts, the journey architects, the content strategists, the MLR navigators, and everything at once and even more. The role expanded so forward and beyond, we can't imagine. So, and comparing with the jolly time, if I can say so, of COVID, that's really different, right? But let us dig about this, the term of omnichannel, which you apparently don't like anymore, right? So the omnichannel illusion, is it over-engineered or misaligned? So do you feel pharma is building omnichannel system that look impressive on paper, but almost impossible to operate. It's over-engineered and overestimated. So how is pharma interpretation different from other industries of omnichannel?
I think maybe to start off with a tangible metaphor, you could say that in pharma, when it comes to omnichannel marketing, we already have a nice picture of a skyscraper and we know
Yeah.
exactly what we want to build and how fancy it is going to look like. But we're still on a construction site and don't know which tool to use first and where to start. And that's a little the discrepancy that I see here. Many ways, I think we're focusing too much on the terminology and what theoretically could be the concept, and we're neglecting the reality in practice and in operations. So there are a few buzzwords we could pick up. So take personalization and customer experience that is tied to this personalization idea. When I started in pharma, everybody was talking about we will become we should become the next Spotify customer experience type of industry. So we really need to work on our customer experience and all those things, which in my eyes had one tremendous flaw, which is the Netflix, Spotify, they are leisure time for most people. This is a voluntarily choice to watch a Netflix series. While pharma, yes, I mean, I'm not saying nobody in this industry likes their job, but I think reading a clinical study is, sure, if you're passionate about it, rewarding and so on, and you do this to deliver value to patients. And on the other hand, it still is work. If we're honest, watching a movie in the cinema and reading clinical studies are two different things. And I think this ambition was nice to paint the picture of where we could go and what could be possible. So it's nice to get across industry examples, but I think we got carried away with what is actually feasible and reasonable in our industry. And coming back to personalization, which obviously is implemented and established in fields like Netflix and Spotify and so on. But I'm always asking myself the effort you need to put into real personalization, is that really worth it? And with personalization, and that's why I mean a lot of terms are basically misaligned or misunderstood. Personalization in a marketing technological perspective is that you adapt a content asset for one person only. Anything else is, technically speaking, like if you create a material for 10 people, that's segmentation or microsegmentation, but that's not personalization anymore. Yet we use the term personalization all the time. And that's why I struggle with like this focus on expressions and theory, which in the end are hard to translate into reality, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. This is very, refreshing and very, awakening comment from your side. Because yes, we are very much overusing personalization as a term, right? So on the other side, we are mostly working with the segmentation where we can see not one persona, but the number of different personas under one message, so which are responding to this message. I would really like to go a little bit back to your Spotify and Netflix comment. I think we are sometimes over commercialize it, so understanding it only from commercial perspective. I think if we would take this experience from the patient perspective, because today, like, not only HCPs are younger and much more experienced, like the patients, us, we are more responsible for our well-being and healthcare, and we are, I would say, less ignorant about our health decisions. I'm not very young, unfortunately, and had many experiences in my past, and unfortunately with oncology. So to say, if there would be no experience for me as a patient, which is similar to Netflix or Spotify, which I can simply understand, digest, and listen, I don't know, like, if I would be sitting here, because I need to talk to the doctors and also understand my options. So that's maybe not concretely from the commercial experience, but from the experience of the patient understanding the future of life being, and like the quality of life and what will be happening with them, with their bodies. So like that's really really tremendous improvement. But going to personalization, I do agree that what is segmentation, it's not about the single persona. This, like I literally want us to go into this personalization topic a little bit deeper and to talk about this maybe digital persona, because even today we have this personalization term everywhere.
Yeah.
And even us as V7, we are pushed to the topic where we must have a digital persona which is driving the content generating, right, process. So what is your opinion? So we use this term personalization everywhere. Do we misunderstand that? So do we really will be not connecting to persona? Maybe in some cases. So what is your thinking
I
here?
mean, my understanding is, and I mean, anyone listening to the podcast can correct me if that's wrong, but from a technical marketing perspective, anything else than creating an asset for one person is not, technically speaking, not personalization. Might be segmentation, it might be customization if they set up a filtered preference in an ATP hub or whatever, or in a patient hub. Fine, but I think, and personas, on the other hand, are also a different approach. I mean, personas typically are a representative profile that you create that matches a subgroup of your target audience. But again, the persona typically is not one person out of 500, but probably 150 or so. So I think, and maybe if we'd use profiles instead, your target profiles, and then we wouldn't mix up personalization with personas. My point is just, I think the personalization is a lot of effort, and everything comes with a cost. I mean, in an ideal world, if you have the resources and endless time, personalization will probably increase the yeah your the speed with which your message is distributed by 2%. Just to mention an example, that's just a fictive number now, but I think it's marginal. But the real world is we don't have endless resources, and it's always coming with an opportunity cost. So if I take your example, if I have a persona that is basically based on one trait, like they all these people live in rural areas, let's take that as an example, then and they all have a certain disease. Well, if you want to reach them with a message, does it really make a difference to reach them with a message that is tailored for one person, or can it be a message tailored for a persona subgroup of 30 people? And that is tremendously less effort. So that's where I'm coming from. To come to a point and answer your questions, yes, I think we misuse personalization if we look at it from a academic marketing perspective.
Yeah. So this is where I think like we are mistreating the terminology, right? So
Yeah,
because we say about persona, this is like this segment or group of people which are united by different principles like location wise. I don't know, like demographical principles, whatever other principles are used to unite this, group of people. You're absolutely right. And this means it is really more segmentation than
exactly.
real persona based approach. If we are committing to that statement, that means the segmentation is a personalization at scale. We can
Sort
barely
of. Yeah,
scale
exactly.
these personas, right? So that's where we arrive. Only like a salesperson in the field can really personalize like a message for the person, because they do it instinctively, so like an instinct to sell. So then you have this instinct to sell, to talk to the other individual. So that's where this so personal touch is happening. But in marketing world, you're absolutely right. So this personalization is just the another evolution of segmentation, I would say. So because we're still talking about group of people, about certain certain united group of people. That's a
Absolutely
great
agree.
conclusion.
And I think the danger here is, I mean, probably 70% of marketers across the globe understand, they use personalization, but what they actually mean is segmentation, but they're doing the right thing. But I think we're also misleading people to a mindset that ideally I should personalize 300 emails and write them all after each other. And that is misleading to a certain extent. And then it all comes down to, and that I truly believe, the more efficient, the more targeted, and the better you do your marketing job, the faster information reaches HCPs and the faster they're informed to make the best decision for patients. And that's what we're ultimately here to do. So I think it might sound stupid, me advocating now to change a word, but I think in that case, it could have severe impacts on how we allocate resources and to how we formulate our goals in pharma marketing.
I couldn't agree more. Within the resources are not unlimited, right? And our focus is not unlimited. So, and instead of building 300 email where like one by one with the, personal name and, like focusing on that work. So even AI will help us a lot, but I think we need to focus more on messaging and reaching the target group and focusing on the patients more.
The
That's
funny thing is, if
absolutely.
I may ask you personally, like if you receive an email, let's say from an insurance company, does it make a difference for you if like the first sentence is personalized? Typically, you get these newsletters and you can tell, obviously, they personalize it based on their database. Does that make a difference for your customer experience?
I wouldn't say so. So that it's really a difference. So it means like maybe in the beginning. So when it was such a new thing for every one of us, it made us thinking, "Oh, it's for me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right now when we are all knowing like that there is maybe a human is orchestrating all of the journeys, but there is no human touch in that email. So personally it doesn't make a difference at the moment because we all understand with whom you are dealing, right? That you are dealing
I
with
have,
the
it's funny you say that because I have the feeling also now with AI, everybody knows how easy it is to personalize like this first sentence in an email. And that takes away the magic and this feeling like, hey, somebody is really caring for me personally. And you said it before, I think the customer facing colleagues in the pharma industry still have a key role in this personalization debate. And they, a good customer facing has this drive to serve their customers, and I think that's where personalization really can happen. But they will then decide. Look, if I provide 10 marketing assets, they will pick the three that make most sense and are most relevant in a specific case. And I think that's where personalization really happens in pharma. But in marketing, it is really an ambition and maybe an unfeasible ambition.
Yes, so that's really like the point. While we all understand how this machine is working, right? So we are all about this human touch and about the connection. And I think in the future we will be even like eager to understand, am I talking to avatar? So or
Yeah.
I'm seeing the real person. And this personal touch will be even more valued because it will be such a rare thing because people will automate more and more, and we will be really valuing and treasuring this human touch and the effort. And to all of our audience, this is a live podcast. There is no avatars in that. So there's a real person, Nico and myself, having these conversations. That's how we need to, to start to be different from the others. So we are not avatars. We are the real persons. So talking about this segmentation and marketing. That's really true. And here we come to this point where we need to give an advice. What should pharma actually do? So but there is this practical way forward. So what should pharma teams actually do next? So we all we're talking about problems, misunderstanding. So what actually to be done next?
That's a good question, and probably we would need another 2 hours to go to the comprehensive list, I'm afraid. But yeah, I would say, I mean, the buzzword, another buzzword, right? AI is shaking up the industry at the moment. So probably looking at how AI can speed up our processes, make our segmenting maybe more accurate, help us define what is really relevant, also looking at data, what is really relevant for our customers, so we actually save them time. Because I'm afraid, for example, with AI, yes, you could either use it to produce more materials still, but we know that physicians receive 20, 50 emails a day. If we now use AI to create even more, they won't read any of those. So maybe we should use AI more to produce less, but more relevant content. And that brings me back to the segmentation puzzle piece. So my gut feeling at the moment, and also from what I see on discussions at at conferences and so on, is really, let's get the segmentation straight and really make the segmenting faster, more reliable, more accurate, to save time from physicians. Because this is not going to be a surprise to anyone listening to this podcast, neither to you. We all lack time. It's such a fast paced world. And I think we need to figure out how we reduce our activities to the actually value providing activities with physicians to save their time, because their time should also be used to treat patients and not only to talk to us. And that's our responsibility as marketeers.
Absolutely. So then, talking about AI relevant information, it is so better segmentation, better understanding of the patient's needs, and having the better relevant information to the client, not shouting the brands and the products, but having this meaningful, science-based dialogue. So which is really with the proven trials experiences under the hood, and there's like a lot of needed information presented in the way it could be also consumed. So that's where we are going to videos, where we are going to podcasts, where we are having still a lot of emails, right? Email is the most traveling information we call today. However, I believe so more and more our emails are not carrying the hundreds of slides with them, but they're carrying smart videos, recording of the voice. So anything what will help to share this idea faster. So you're absolutely right. To keep the pace, we need an AI. So like to be our amplifier of the speed.
And to echo what you just said, like the information is getting shorter. I mean, that's also not a secret. Our attention spans are getting shorter. That's what people say. I saw an interesting video on TikTok the other day where an influencer said it's not the attention that gets like shorter. Because if you think about it, if you find a reel on Instagram, TikTok, you name it, a LinkedIn post, if you find it interesting, you invest the time. It just got harder to get the attention in the first place, because the overall offering of information grew rapidly and it's always available. So I think the hook in the marketing role, that got more complicated. But once you got the attention, it stayed the same. So what does it imply for us? We need to focus more on what is relevant hook. And there again, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself, but segmentation is key. If I know what is relevant for you, I can create a hook that in 2 seconds tells you this information is relevant for you. If I just send you an email and say, this is the yearly summary of what happened in this and that indication, you don't know whether this is indication you already heard or not. And it's always like a time invest to actually figure out whether it's relevant for you. So I think this hook and relevance topic is interesting. And I think actually we can learn a lot from influences from other industries, as stupid as it may sound.
It's not stupid, because if we will become those influencers, people will become healthier, and the quality of life of people who are unfortunately affected by a serious disease so will be also improved. So we deserve to be those influencers, because this is the battle for life, I would say. This is like not everyone deserves, but who else deserves than us? So like to influence this world, so to make it better for human. So that's totally a great statement. And now we are going to my favorite section, which is hot or not, where I will pronounce statements and you will be answering very shortly, hot or not. So you agree or disagree. So
Okay.
that's kind of a game, very short section, but I hope you will enjoy it.
Will you tell me afterwards whether I was right?
Like there is not a
I'm
wrong
kidding.
or right answer. There is like your attitude to that as a person. So what you believe in and what is not.
Let's see. Let's see. I'll give my best.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Ready.
Yeah. So let's dive in. Personalization as the biggest myth in pharma marketing.
We have a lot of myths, but I would say yes. At the moment, yes.
Hot.
Hot.
Good.
Hot.
Segmentation is the real growth engine.
Hot.
Assuming doctors want the Netflix experience from pharma.
Not.
More channels means better engagement.
Not. Big not.
Most omnichannel initiatives overpromised and underdelivered.
Hot?
Marketing should own personalization, not sales.
Yeah, hot then. So sales owns it.
Pharma should kill half of its ongoing digital projects.
Hard one. I'd say not. Half sounds a little too rough.
Interactive. So great. So thank you, Nico. That was a nice one. So the questions were really, contradictory. So that's no right answer to them. So, but it's your opinion. So I'm so grateful. So our audience, so that was a nice, a rich and open-minded discussion. Thank you for your honest and practical views. And I'm sure they will be generating a lot of great responses. And everyone who is listening to PharmaTalks and even watching our video, please feel free to share your opinion on the topic, follow up on LinkedIn on this episode. And, until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep transforming healthcare communication. Thank you and goodbye. See you in the next episode of PharmaTalks.
See you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Nicole.
Okay.